Who are you gonna call? If your answer isn't Ghostbusters, chances are you've been living under a rock, because that's been the answer for like 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Keith and I'm here to review the movie Ghostbusters, the 2016 version. You know that version. The version that seems to be sending everybody crazy. People either love it or they hate it. There really doesn't seem to be much of an in-between. This is interesting because I'm one of those people who thought to myself, do they really need to remake Ghostbusters? But truth be told, I was probably more offended at the fact that they remade The Karate Kid. I mean, I like Jackie Chan and all, but he's no Mr. Miyagi. And now I hear that they want to remake other movies like Scarface, or one of my favorite films from a few years ago, Les Intouchables. Nothing is sacred anymore. Pretty soon they'll be remaking The Godfather. So when you think of all the different movies that they're remaking, the Ghostbusters is probably the least of my concern. Now, of course, there's been a lot that's been made about the fact that they've remade it with an all-female cast. Well, you've got a cast that includes Melissa McCarthy, who's comedy gold. You've got Kristen Wiig, who's absolutely hilarious in her own right, and I've liked her ever since the Joe Schmo show. Look it up, it was great. You've also got Leslie Jones, who was a scene stealer in Chris Rock's phenomenal Top 5, and is also a scene stealer in this movie. Quite frankly, the only character at first that I thought I didn't like was Kate McKinnon. Kate McKinnon plays an over-the-top Ghostbuster, and at first, when I saw the movie, I thought to myself, my God, she's annoying. But then I thought to myself, she was probably the best of the four for the simple reason that she elicited the strongest reaction in me. Consider this. If you go and you see a movie and you absolutely despise a character, I'll kind of flip the script and say that actor delivered a fantastic role because they've got you to react so strongly. And as I went back and I thought to myself, well, her character was probably supposed to be annoying. I'm hoping, because if so, job accomplished. There are a lot of things that I did like about this movie. I like the fact that they had probably the best timed cameos in any movie that I've seen in a long, long time. I also love the fact that if you've seen the original, they do such an amazing job of paying homage to the original movie. So if you've seen the original and you like the original, from that aspect you'll like the little Easter eggs, if you will, that they've thrown into this movie. The things about this movie that I didn't like were a couple. So I didn't like the editing. I thought the movie was cut together very poorly. I also didn't like the overacting. Now, we've talked about Kate McKinnon and she's like way, way over the top, but it was really the Chris Hemsworth character that I really didn't like. Chris Hemsworth comes in as basically the admin assistant for the Ghostbusters agency, and he comes in and he's basically playing this really good looking guy who's really dumb. And in his first couple of scenes, it's like, okay, you're really dumb, we get it. But then it just seemed to be getting like worse and worse and more over the top. It was just kind of like pushing our faces in. I was like, okay, I get it, it's enough. This movie started off with such a strong scene. The opening sequence of this movie was fantastic, and you think to yourself, this is going to be a really good movie. But the best scene in the movie is the opening sequence. After then, it's just there, and there's nothing spectacular about this movie. There's some parts that are funny, but those parts are far and few between. I also look at this movie from the point of view of perhaps a different audience, a younger woman audience. I got a buddy of mine who basically lives in the estrogen ocean. He's got a lovely wife and 3 lovely daughters. And he was looking at taking his younger daughter to this movie. And I thought to myself, if he's taking his younger daughter to this movie, chances are she hasn't seen the 1984 film and she's looking at this one with fresh eyes. And she's probably going to like it. You've got 4 female characters that are the leads in this movie. They're out there fighting ghosts, kicking ass and taking names. And who knows, maybe she's going to run around the house and with her fake proton pack fighting ghosts and, running around and having a good time. So from that perspective, not necessarily a bad thing. So to that end, no problem with the all-female cast and understanding different audiences are going to see this differently. For myself, as a grown-up man, I saw this movie, and again, no problem with the female cast, just different problems with certain aspects of the movie. Totally fine that they remade it. I just wish they'd remade it stronger. I give this movie a C+. I think it's probably one of those movies that you can wait until it comes out on Netflix to see. It's definitely not worth any sort of 3D screening. I think there was only one scene in the movie that made 3D worth it. I want to stop talking about my disappointment in 3D, but I also want the studios to actually make strong 3D movies as opposed to just throwing a 3D tag or an IMAX tag on it and trying to sell at a higher value. I have no problem paying that higher value, but make it worth it. And Ghostbusters just wasn't it. If you have a chance to see this movie, let me know what you think. CFL_fan on Twitter, Facebook.com/WhittyWhittier, and WhittyWhittier.com. Appreciate your time, and as always, my name is Keith. I'll see you at the movies.